What's up guys, Ryan here with Treadaway Training, and in today's video I'm going to be telling you about an experiment that I've been doing on myself, the results I've been getting, and how you can implement it in your fat loss program. This video is going to be a little bit different than usual, so make sure to let me know what you think at the end, and maybe consider subscribing too. I'm currently dieting for a beach trip that's a couple months away, and normally when dieting I'll measure every little thing and I'll track my macros, but this time I'm not going to be tracking anything, and I'm going to be implementing intermittent fasting and a few of the other strategies that I have told you guys about here on the channel and on treadawaytraining.com. For those of you who don't know what intermittent fasting is, there are several variations of it, but the most popular one is a 16-hour window of fasting followed by an 8-hour feeding window in which you have 2 meals. If you haven't watched my intermittent fasting video, there's one major drawback to intermittent fasting and one major benefit to intermittent fasting. The benefit is that it allows you to eat more food per meal because you're dividing the calories that you're consuming across fewer meals. And the drawback is that it's not optimal for protein intake. You need to be in the range of 3 to 5 protein feedings per day to ensure that you're gaining muscle or at least maintaining your muscle while on a fat loss diet, rather than 2 that you have with intermittent fasting. I'll link the video where I talk about specific protein recommendations up in the carbs. Excellent. I'll link the video where I talk about specific protein recommendations up in the cards and down in the description as well. Now what I'm doing to fix this issue is I am doing a modified fast. So what I'm doing is I'm having a shake at 11, which is my first meal, and then at 3 I'll have a solid meal, and then at 6 or 7 o'clock whenever I get done working out I'll have a post-workout shake, and then my last meal, which will be my biggest meal, will be at around 9 o'clock at night. And a lot of people will say that you shouldn't eat this late, that you'll get fat if you eat late, and this is completely false. Just don't worry about the time of day that you're eating. That is of little importance. I would actually recommend you eat your last meal later, because if you go to bed full and have some carbs on your stomach, then it'll actually help you to sleep better, which is important for fat loss. Now, one thing I will say though is if you have a big meal late at night, some of that food will be undigested when you wake up in the morning, so when you weigh in, this could cause some weight fluctuation, but it's not that it's fat, it's just that there's food still on your stomach, and it's something that you need to keep in mind. And I talk about this and a few other things that will cause weight fluctuation in another video that I did that I will also link up in the cards and down in the description. So what have my results been so far? Well, I've been doing this about 4 weeks and I've lost about 6 or 7 pounds. When I started, I was hovering between 194 and 195, and now I'm down to 188. Now let's move into how you can implement this with 3 simple steps. Step 1 is to determine how much protein you need a day and divide that across 3 or 4 meals. And the protein video that I mentioned before will tell you how to determine how much protein you need. It's super easy, just give that a watch after you watch this video. But as a super fast example, let's say you're 150 pounds and you decide to go with 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, then that would put you at 150 grams of protein per day. You divide that across 3 meals, that means you're having 3 meals of 50 grams of protein each. If you start to go over 50 grams of protein per meal, then you should add in a 4th meal and divide it across 4 meals instead of 3, because once you go over 50 grams, that's where most people start to see diminishing returns for the amount of protein that's consumed. So for me personally, I'm aiming for 200 grams of protein per day, and I'm having, like I mentioned earlier, 4 meals. So I'll have 4 meals of approximately 50 grams of protein each, rather than having 3 meals of 67 grams of protein each. Now spread these meals out by approximately 3 hours in between each. Now keep in mind that only 2 of these meals will be actual solid meals, and the other 1 or 2 meals will be protein only, probably via a protein shake. Also keep in mind that I measured my food and tracked my macros from 2013 all the way through 2017. So I can look at my food and tell about how much protein's in it, because I know what a serving size looks like and I also know how much protein is in a serving of several different food items. If you don't have this experience, you might want to try measuring your food for a little while, and maybe not for 4 years like I did, but just for a few weeks at least. Step 2 is to pair your lean proteins with foods that are very filling and that you can eat a lot of without consuming an excessive amount of calories. I'll put up a few examples up on the screen. As you can see, these food items are listed as calories per ounce of this food item. Applesauce has 12 calories per ounce, asparagus has 7, bell pepper 6, blackberries 12, broccoli 10, cabbage 7, carrots 11. Celery and lettuce are tied for the lowest on this list at 4 calories per ounce each. Mushrooms have 6, spinach 6, strawberries 9, and tomatoes and zucchini both have 5 calories per ounce each. So with these foods, you can eat a ton of them without adding an excessive amount of calories, which will help to keep you full, which is even more important when you're not measuring your food and tracking your calories. It'll help to keep your calories down and keep you full at the same time. Step 3, add in your other carbs according to this pyramid. And as you can see, as you go down the pyramid, the foods become more filling per calorie that they offer. So you want to stay towards the bottom of the pyramid to ensure that you stay full without consuming an excessive amount of calories. You can add foods that are towards the top of the pyramid. You just want to be more sparing with these so that you don't end up removing yourself from a calorie deficit and stopping your fat loss. You may have noticed that none of these steps involved adding fat sources into your diet. And that's because I actually don't recommend you specifically add in fat sources into your diet, because fatty foods are more calorie dense and also are easy to overeat on. So if you're intentionally adding in fat sources, there's a good chance that you're not going to be in a calorie deficit. You should be able to get enough fat in your diet without having to add specific fat sources. And as a bonus tip, include a dessert with your last meal to remove some of the psychological burden of dieting so that you don't feel deprived during the dieting process, which will make you more likely to stick to the diet. But refer back to the pyramid, because remember, dessert foods are going to be way up here at the top, meaning they're going to be very calorie dense, so you have to add these in sparingly. If you do these things, you should see fat loss occur. And if not, you might want to go back to measuring for a little while and then try this approach again once you get the hang of it. So what did you think about this video? It was a little bit less sciencey than normal, a little bit more practical application. Let me know what you thought down in the comments, and if you did like it, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell, all the things that makes us the bestest of friends. And also, I've just started a new Facebook group for Treadaway training members, for blog readers, and for YouTube subscribers. So if you want to be a part of an awesome fitness community, make sure to join us there. I'll put that link down in the description as well. I'll be back next week with another fat loss topic. As always, God bless you and your family, and I'll see you next week. Step one is to determine how much I just spit. And step 3 add other